In this video, we are going to be learning about place value and what that looks like in year 3. We will first explain what place value means, and then we're going to work through some activities. Now, you may have downloaded our free worksheet which will accompany this video. If you haven't done so yet, check the comments or the title description. There should be a free download link there. So the first activity we will introduce is how to write a number in digits, then how to write a number in words, how to partition the number. Then we're going to look at finding the value of an underlined digit, and then finally finish with a challenge. So the contents on this video will work through the areas on your worksheet. You can pause after each bit's explained, then do the activity on your worksheet, or if you prefer, you can watch the whole video and then do the whole worksheet. So let's take a number. We've got 3 digits on the screen, and in year 3 your child would be expected to be able to read a 3-digit number. If they're not able to read the 3-digit number, I would suggest going back and having a look at some of the year 2 expectations and building them up until they are able to understand a 3-digit number. So the number on the screen, we've got 5, a 6 and a 2. We've got the number 562. The digits are each number. So in the number 562, we have the digit 5, the digit 6 and the digit 2. Now, when we look at place value, what we're trying to do is to understand the value of each digit. And the value of each digit will change depending on what place it is in. So we're going to look into that a bit more on our next screen. So if we take our 562, you may have used some resources in school which look like this. You may have the Deans, or you may have arrow cards. So here we have 500 squares, we have 6 tens, and we have 2 ones, sometimes known as units. The government are moving more towards us calling those ones now. And an arrow card, we have a 500, we have a 60 and we have a 2, and those can actually be put onto one another, and I will demonstrate that now. What we want is to be able to start using a place value chart. So you can see at the top I have 3 columns. My first one is my ones, my tens and my hundreds, and I need to take my number 562 and pop them into the right columns. If I'm using my arrow card, I can simply separate the cards. If I've got my Deans, I can separate my blocks into my 500s in my 100 columns, my tens in my tens columns, and my ones in my 1 column. Now, if I was to write that, and this is where we want you to get to by the end of year 3, I can see that I have 5 lots of hundreds, I have 6 lots of tens, and I have 2 lots of ones. So my digit 5 is in the 100 place. Okay, the place value of 5 is 500 because the digit 5 is in this place. It's in the place where the value are hundreds. My digit 6, the place that's in is in the tens column. So the value of it is, although the digit is 6, the value of it is 6 tens, which we have here, which is the same as 60. And my digit 2 is in this place. It's in the ones column. So I have 2 ones. I have the number 2. It's worth 2. The value of the digit is 2. The value of this digit is 60. And the value of this digit is 500. Okay, so use resources to help build you up. We want to get to a point where you can just use numbers and a place value chart, but I'm going to show you how to do everything with arrow cards and all the resources. So use those resources till you feel comfortable. So let's have a look at this number 349. So I've written it in words, and the first activity on your worksheet, you have to write the number in digits. So that means write it in numbers. So I've got it in a word, 349, and I've represented it using resources. I've got my 300 squares, my 4 tens, and my 9 ones. Or using arrow cards, I've got my 300, my 40, and my 9. Now to write this as a digit, I might want to use a place value chart. So I've popped the resources into the place value chart, and I can simply use these resources to help me with the numbers. So I can see here that I have 3 lots of hundreds, I have 4 lots of tens, and I have 9 lots of ones. Now, if you use arrow cards, what you can actually do is separate them and put them together. So I've written my number in digits, 349. If you visualize an arrow card, if you use an arrow card to help you until you're confident enough just to write the numbers in, look what happens when I put my 300, my 40, and my 9 together. Combined, they make the number 349 like this, 349. So to write it as a digit, I could use my arrow card to help me visualize that those numbers together make 349. So have a go on your worksheet now, or if you prefer, skip this part, go to the next activity. You can work through the worksheet as you feel, but there are 3 questions on your worksheet. You've got 3 numbers written in words. Can you write those numbers in digits? So can you write it as a number using just digits? So for the next activity, we're going to write a number in words. So we've got the number in represented using digits, 6, 8, and 7, and we need to write that number in words. So the first thing I've done is use resources to represent this number. So I've got 600 blocks, 8 tens, and 7 ones. And I've got my arrow cards showing 6, 8, 7. What is this number in words? How would we say it out loud? Well, I could use these resources to help me if I wasn't sure just looking at the number. But I have 600 and I have 80 and 7. Now, we don't usually separate our tens and our ones number. We don't say 80 and 7, we say 87. So I've got the number 87, 687, and I need to write that in words. Now, if you're not super confident with just doing that, you could use a place value chart to help you. So I can write in my digits as well into the place value chart. So I've got 6 in my hundreds column. I have 6 lots of hundreds. I have 8 tens and I have 7 ones. Now I'm going to use each place value chart heading to help me write the number in words. So I'm going to actually start with my hundreds column, because when you say a number, you always say the biggest number first. So we always say the hundreds first if it's a 3-digit number. I have 6 hundreds, but I'm not going to write 6 hundreds. I'm going to write that I have 600, and then I've got 80, and I've got 7. Now, I've got 8 tens, but I don't write 8 tens, I actually write 80. Now, I could put 600 and 80, and then I've got 7. But does that sound right? Is that how we would save the number? Is that how we would say the number 680 and 7? We would actually combine we'd put together our tens and our ones, and we'd actually call it 87. So these 3 headings go together. I've got 687. So I can use the digits and use the column headings to help me write the number, and then just say it back to yourself to hear if it makes sense. Is that how you would normally hear the number? So when I want to write the number in words, I can think about using the place value chart, and I could think about combining my arrow cards, 600, 80 and a 7, and I can combine those to write the number. $600, and we don't say 80 and 7, we join the two together, we say 87, and that's how you would write your number in words. So have a go now on your worksheet, or pause or carry on to the end of the video and do it at the end. It is completely up to you, but you have 3 numbers there that I would like you to write in words. Okay, the next activity is to partition the number. I've kept the same number as before, so we've got our 687. Now, when you partition a number, it simply means to separate the digits. So using our arrow cards and visualizing the arrow cards, even if you don't have them, is a good way to partition our number. So when we partition our 687, we're simply saying that 687 is equal to 680 and 7. It's that simple. You're taking each of your digits and you are thinking about what the value of each one is and separating. So you're taking your 6, what's that worth? It's worth 600. Take then your 8, what's that worth? It's worth 80. And then your digit 7, what is that worth? It's worth 7. So to partition the number means you separate it, you pull it apart. So imagine either your arrow cards or your deans, and then you're just going to write what each one is. So again, I'm going to write it again for you. When you come to doing your partitioning activity, you are going to simply write out each digit. So you have a 600 and you have an 80 and you have a 7. This is a really useful skill. Some people might think, oh, that's really obvious, but actually it's a really useful skill and will really help you when you're going up to year 6 and above to understand that digits can be partitioned. Okay, so as before, you can stop and have a go in the worksheet or skip to the next activity. So for the next activity, you've got to find the value of the underlined digit. So using the same number, 687, I've got it in my place value chart. You might use your resources, you might just use the number. So I'm just going to write in 687 at the bottom. Now in the first example, the 8 is underlined. So I go to my 8, and my 8 is in my tens column. So I've got 8 tens. But what is the value of 8 tens? What is 8 tens? What is that as a number? And actually the arrow card gives you the answer. So 8 tens, like these 8 tens rods, if we were to say what the value of that is, it's 80. The value of 8, which is underlined, is 80. In the next example, the 7 is underlined. If we go to our 7, it's in our ones column. So we have 7 ones. Well, what do we call 7 ones? It's simply 7. So the value of the digit 7 in this number is 7. And finally, the 6 is underlined. So I'm just going to write in my 687 again. 6 is in the hundreds column. So I have 6 hundreds, which is equal to, what do we call 600? So you use your arrow card to help you. We simply call it 600. The value of the digit 6 in this number is 600. So have a go on your worksheet now. So I have my 3 digits here and I need to find the largest possible number and the smallest possible number that I can make using just these 3 digits. And also, how do you definitely know that you have found the largest and smallest number? Can you explain it in words? So for example, if I was to switch these numbers around, now I've got the number 486 right in front of me if I leave them in that order, but I could also do 648. I could do 684. I can play around with those digits. I can put them in different orders to make different numbers. How many different numbers can you make using those 3 digits? And can you find the biggest possible number and the smallest possible number? And I'd really like it if you could also write down how you definitely know for sure that you found the smallest and the biggest number. So have a go with the 3 digits which are on your worksheet. And that's the end of all of our activities. If you've enjoyed this lesson video, then please have a look at our website where you can sign up for access to loads more free resources to support maths learning in Key Stage 2. So that's years 3 to 6. I started doing these lesson videos in response to the school closure. We already have a Year 6 app on the market, but the years 3 to 4 and 5 are all being designed especially to help you with your homeschooling. So if you want to keep up to date with more resources as I make them, then check out the website and you'll be able to sign up at www.pocketprivatetutor.co.uk. We're also on Facebook and Instagram where I'm posting loads of different puzzles and tips and tricks that you can have a go at with your family at home. Hope you've enjoyed the lesson.